is Coach Lee, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about infatuation versus love. Take a quick second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more content that's helpful to love, to relationships, and to attraction. So one of the things that I would hear when I was a teenager and I was in these immature relationships as far as other people were concerned, oftentimes they would tell me that I was infatuated. I was not in love. That it was infatuation. It was not love. Now, they weren't entirely wrong, but they certainly were not entirely correct. Because it's sort of like saying, well, you're only in high school, so you're not a real person. Well, that's not true. You are working towards something. It is in process. And the same is true when it comes to infatuation and love. Infatuation is usually the early stages of a relationship, and love is complex because love encompasses many different types of feelings of affection and endearment towards someone. And love is a decision. Love is a commitment. We're often reminded that love is not an emotion or that it should not be based on feelings, and yet certainly feelings are involved. We want the person who we love and who loves us to have strong feelings for us, but we don't want them to be based on feelings because feelings can go up and down based on what's going on in life. Infatuation is very similar to a concept called limerence. And I have a video called What is Limerence, which would be very helpful for you to watch, especially if you have a spouse who is in limerence with someone else, and you may be wondering, how would I know if they're in limerence with someone else? Well, you got to watch the video. But limerence is very similar to infatuation, and it's based on chemicals produced in the brain that affect the body and the mind and your emotions. And what it does is it makes you think that you were just head over heels in love with this person and that you've never felt this way before, when in fact a lot of it is chemical based, and sometimes people can actually become semi-addicted to the chemicals and not necessarily be in love with the person. Infatuation is almost identical. And in many ways, limerence is simply a word that scientists, especially Dr. Dorothy Tinoff, used to describe infatuation. Take a quick second and click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more videos. It's just below. Please click it as we continue. When two people first start dating, courting, seeing each other, beginning to, quote, fall in love, or at least think that they want to see where things go with this other person, there's a lot of mystery. You don't know a lot about this person. You don't know necessarily how they feel about things, how they feel about their childhood. You don't know where they're from. You want to find these things out. What have they done? Who was their best childhood friend? There's an endless list of questions, and with the accompanying article to this video, which you will find in the description below here on YouTube, I list questions that you can ask to increase intimacy. And so really what's happening is that infatuation, or limerence, is designed to make us want to have intimacy with this person. In other words, we want to find out the answers. We want to unravel the mystery of this person. And that's the fuel. Infatuation, limerence, is the fuel to make us want to do this. And it often creates preoccupation in our minds. We think about this person constantly. We have difficulty sleeping. It seems like nothing is right with the world and nothing matters until we are with this person. The wise old owl in the Disney movie called it Twitterpated. And he talks about how you can't see straight, you're dizzy, you can't focus, you walk around in a daze. That's infatuation, that's limerence. But when people say to you, you're not in love, you're infatuated, or they'll say, it's not love, it's just infatuation. You see, infatuation is designed to get us to a different type of love. Infatuation, or limerence, is a romantic type of love, and it's designed to cause us to develop intimacy, which is where we open ourselves to the other person. We become naked, not just physically, but emotionally to this other person, and they do the same to us, and we both desire to show ourselves, both inside and out. And that is how we develop intimacy, is that we unravel those mysteries. And so Infatuation or limerence doesn't necessarily go away, at least not initially. It will fade at some point, but it will be joined by other types of love: friendship, companionship, commitment, a love based on history together, a love based on loyalty. You see, these things start being added to this recipe, to this cake that is love. And so it's not fair to say, first of all, that it's infatuation and not love. But infatuation early on, or limerence, is what brings about these more mature, more developed types of love. And so you need it. It's fuel. So don't let anyone speak down to it. A lot of times they're even just jealous because some people don't experience very intense infatuation or limerence, and they're just with someone because they think it makes sense, or because they just want to be loved and feel like they're wanted. And so when they see you preoccupied with this person and feeling this intense connection and this romance and just wanting to be with this person 24/7, in some ways they're jealous. And speaking of jealousy, that's very common when you are in this stage of infatuation and limerence. It's making you want to be around this person and be protective of this developing relationship. But don't let anyone talk down about it. It's actually designed and intended to get you to be to a point where you are committed to this person, where you do make a decision to be with this person. And so infatuation is not a bad thing. It's just simply where you start. Or else why would you want to be around this person? If there's nothing propelling you and you don't even know who this person is, what's the motivation? So limerence and infatuation is designed to have two people who don't even know each other want to get together, want to get to know each other, want to unravel those mysteries and develop something weeks and months and years later. And so infatuation is a type of love. And so when someone says, well, it's not love, it's infatuation, in many ways they're saying, well, it's not this type of love, it's this type of love. Because you haven't known them long enough, usually when you're infatuated, you haven't known them long enough to have companionate love, which is what they're talking about usually when they say love, that it's not love, it's infatuation. And the other thing I will tell you about that is, who cares what they think? Maybe it's not love in their definition yet, but infatuation is what is getting it there. It's based on chemicals in the brain, primarily dopamine, which makes you feel really good. And it's when your brain gives you a reward for doing something. So if you scratch an itch, if you eat sugar, there's all kinds of things that if you do, that your brain will give you a little bit of dopamine and it feels good and makes you want to do it again. And usually that's what's going on when you're infatuated and when you are in limerence with this person. You get these dopamine releases whenever you're around them. And so the chemical is what encourages you to be around this person, because you were made to be in a relationship with someone and with many people. That's why you have friends. But this romance is based primarily early on a chemical that is rewarding you because you need to be with someone to procreate and have babies at some point. And that's kind of the nature motivation. There's more complex emotional and spiritual motivations as well, but that's at least in there and does have some influence. And so, sure, there's going to be a reward for you making effort to be with someone with whom you can have a family later on. That's just part of nature. And over time, you will know this person more and your relationship will develop friendship, commitment, a feeling of history, loyalty, and family with this person. And that's good. You're on the path toward it. But that's basically the difference between infatuation and a companionate type of love. But infatuation is a type of love. It is a romantic type of love. And there are multiple types of love. Especially when you start studying other languages, you will learn that they have different words for different types of love. For example, Greek has phileo, agape, and other words that we would just say as love in English. We would just say that it's love, whereas they have these different words for different types of love. So infatuation and limerence are on the path to a more developed type of love, but they themselves are a type of love. So if you feel like you are in infatuation or limerence with someone, that is leading you to probably the type of love that you want, which is a more developed one. But you are still on the road to experiencing that. Click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more content on relationships, attraction, breakups, and marriage. My website is myexbackcoach.com, and I have the emergency breakup kit. If you have been dumped and you want your ex back, it gives you a powerful strategy and roadmap to help you and guide you to get your ex back. The link to that is in the description below, as well as my video about Limerence. Again, please click the subscribe button below. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.